Welcome to Public Health Matters, where we talk about matters of public health. I'm Bobbie Bagley, Director for the City of Nashua Division of Public Health and Community Services, and Chief Public Health Official. And I'm here today with my guest, Margo Bell, who is the Executive Director of the Nashua Senior Center. Margo, thank you for being here with me this afternoon.
I'm absolutely thrilled. It's always nice to come on this show and talk about the Senior Center and the programs going on there. And I will tell you, though, that we are the Nashua Senior Center, but our legal incorporated name is Nashua Association for the Elderly, Inc., and that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. But you know, I'm glad that you're here today because I wanted to talk about things that matter for our aging adult population. I am now falling into that category of aging adults. It is our fastest growing population across the country and here in New Hampshire as well, and also in Nashua. So we are very lucky and blessed to have our Nashua Senior Center, which we all know it as the Nashua Senior Center in Nashua. So let's talk about some of the programming and some of the opportunities that our aging adults will and can experience at the Nashua Senior Center.
Okay, and I know I'm going to forget something, but I will start with movement. So there is exercise classes, whether it be aerobics, chair yoga, mat yoga. We have a fitness room. We have special workshops that people come in. We have line dance classes.
Oh my.
So that really keeps the body moving.
Yeah.
And then music. Music keeps, I think the mind moving, the spirit alive.
Yeah.
And we have several groups, some informal, just drop in, listen to music for a few hours. It's a nice chance for folks to visit. Mm-hmm. But we also have a chorus that goes out and performs at a variety of locations and giving joy to others and at the same time getting joy themselves.
Yeah, that is awesome. Those things align very nicely. So, mm-hmm. Margo, this month, the month of August, mm-hmm. is Wellness Month. And there are 5 things to consider with wellness. We want to look at it holistically, for one. Mm-hmm. And we also want to look at going across the lifespan. What are things that all of us can do to maintain our health and wellness? And so since we're focused on the aging adult population, let's talk about the 5 areas of wellness that seniors, older adults, aging adults can focus on. So one of the primary things is the physical. And you talked about the line dancing, you talked about the exercising. The physical is how we keep these bodies, right, mm-hmm. in shape as long as we can. We only get one, right? And so there are some things that we want our aging population to focus on when it comes down to our physical health. And so mm-hmm. what is it and how is it that people can sign up for some of those physical activities at the center?
Well, they can go on our website and see what we have. And our website also has the calendar of activities on it. Once they see something on there, different activities have instructions of whether you need to come in and sign up or if it's just a phone call that you can make. And some of the classes just fill out. We have a local physical therapist that does an ongoing 8-week class, like with a week in between. That class is with a wait list.
Yeah. Oh, so my. That many people are signing up for that.
So some of these things you have to the minute you see it, sign up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. One of the other areas, the second area that is focused on for wellness is around mental health. We do have a crisis in our country. Mm-hmm. We do have a crisis in New Hampshire as well as here, in our, greater Nashua region as well. Mental health well-being is very, very important. And one of the areas that we consider addressing is the issue around social isolation, which can lead to depression, also maybe even suicidal ideation. Can we talk a little bit about what are some of the options that the center offers for individuals to help boost and enhance their mental health wellness?
Well, socially, I think it's wonderful because folks can come in, they can come to a program, they can take a class, they meet people in the group, they could have a lot of problems, they're leaving them home. Rarely do you walk around the halls and find that folks are discussing their deepest, darkest secrets. They're just kind of happy to be out and around others. We also were very fortunate to house Meals on Wheels of Hillsborough County, and they put out about 450 meals each day to the homebound. So wonderful that somebody is seeing these
Right.
folks each and every day. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
ServiceLink is located within our building, and they connect not only seniors, but in our building it's mostly seniors, with services in case they need help around the house. We do have the parish nurse from St. Joseph's Hospital that comes in and does Medicare medication consultations. And we try to gear a lot of these programs. Another memory care facility in Nashua does lunch and learn.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
symptoms to look out for. You know, am I forgetting things? Is it normal?
Right,
Or
yeah.
should I be concerned?
Yeah.
So we are trying to do those things, and if anyone has any suggestions, we would more than be happy to look into getting that program.
Right. And I do know that at the center, you also offer opportunities for folks to come in and do special programming as well.
Yeah. Special programming is it is kind of fun. It all depends on what it is. So if somebody does, for instance, the health department has come in and done special programming for us,
Right.
and we really appreciate it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
One of the other areas around wellness is focused on emotional health. And emotional health, again, it ties in with mental health because, you know, when we have different thoughts, those thoughts can lead to emotions. Those emotions can then lead to behaviors. Those behaviors then lead to actions. And then you have things that, you know, come out of that that can affect and impact our physical health as well, because it's all connected. When we think about ourselves as holistic beings, you want to think about the emotional, the mental, you know, and the physical health and how all those things intersect. And so you talked about the music, you talked about the choir. Those are all things that can help lift a person's, you know, emotional and spiritual well-being, right? So can you talk a little bit more about some of those things?
Well, this time of year we do, and right up through December, a lot of day trips and multi-day trips.
Oh,
and
awesome.
so day trips, for instance, yesterday they went out on a mailboat run in Portland, Maine, and then had a luncheon. And I had a lot of folks that hadn't been on one of those trips before, and they meet other people
Yeah.
because maybe they've relocated here because of their kids being here. And they don't want to drive that distance. Some days I don't want to drive that distance, but it's fun for them
Right,
to
right.
get together and do things that they may not have done otherwise.
Right.
We have card groups. Now, people might say card groups are simple little things. I cannot play bridge and I can't play cribbage. And let me tell you, these people that come in and play those games, their mind is just right on it.
Yeah.
Another hot class we've been having, we've offered two different kinds of it, but a monthly is trivia. Folks are loving trivia.
yeah.
You know, so it's nice that you can kind of reach back in the memory bank and some of these things come to the surface.
Yes. Now, how do people get to sign up for the choir if they wanted to be a part of that?
If you want to come in, you would just go to our front desk or call 603-889-6155, and they can tell you what day it meets. So they meet on Fridays, not for the month of August, but they meet on Fridays, and you can just come to class.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And singing and music is, you know, such a relaxing thing. Allows for you to get in touch with your inner music
For sure.
abilities.
For sure.
Whether or not you can, you know, talent with singing or not, but it just gives you the opportunity to, again, relax your mindset and calm your mindset and think on other things to help nourish your mental capacity.
We all need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I've actually toured, you know, the center. We've actually utilized the center with with my mother-in-law, my husband. We signed her up for the senior center, and so she came over and she really enjoyed all the sessions that were over there. There was a music room, a room where there was a piano and everything. So she really enjoyed taking advantage of some of those activities that are just free for all of the folks that are members. Now, do you have to sign up as a member? Can you do like the drop-in?
You do not have to. Obviously, membership is encouraged because it's ownership. So, you know, it's $40 a year for one individual. It's $60 for two people living in a household.
Yeah.
And there is a discount if you're a veteran. And it's free if you're over 90. And I believe right now we have about 28 over 90s.
That's awesome.
I know, that are still
That is awesome.
participating.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a member to come to chorus. If we have to pay an instructor, then obviously we have to charge. We have free and we have fee. We do try to reward members when there is a fee for a class, meaning say you come to a dance class and it's $6 if you're a non-member, it might be $4 if you're a member. And we try to offer more free things to our members. But there's a lot you can do if you're not.
Yeah.
You can come into our library. You can go quilting class. We have a knitting class. You can shop in our thrift store, sing, just a variety of things.
Yeah, and it touches on the fourth aspect of wellness, which is that whole social interaction, right? One of the key things, and this is with all of us, but when we think about as we're, again, aging across the continuum, always seeing if we could maintain that social connectedness, because that plays such a role in giving people purpose. And one of the things that we did find, that I found, and my husband and I found with his mother, my mother-in-law, was that social connectedness helped for her to feel like she had purpose, right?
It does. It makes a difference.
It does.
Really does.
Yeah.
We have I forgot to mention, because this is so important, we have a book club as well. So that reaches another segment, and one week they do discuss a book, but the next time it's current events. So,
Nice.
yeah. And it really is, because that way it's non-judgmental.
Right.
Yet it's sharing opinions and
Yeah.
having socialization.
Right. And again, keeping that mind active, because that's really key, you know, as we age, making sure that we can keep our mind active. I read that for, you know, as we age in older adults, that this whole threat of Alzheimer's, the longer we live, there's a higher potential that some of us will end up with dementia and Alzheimer's. And the more active we can keep our brains through social connectedness, music, puzzles, games, doing all of these things are ways to keep those things connecting, you know, in the brain and kind of stave that off a little bit. Is there anything in particular that's offered at the center that's related to Alzheimer's or dealing with older adults, parents, you know, loved ones that have dementia? There are things that the senior center either refers to or makes referrals to for individuals?
We absolutely do. Well, ServiceLink, of course, is a great resource. And we will refer folks to that office because they know about all the other services. So that's very helpful. And like I mentioned before, we have Lunch and Learn, which is valuable because some of these facilities then have testing to see what category you may fall into. Another one of the facilities in Nashua will come in and they do this wonderful actual hands-on testing.
Nice.
And people sign up for it willingly, you know, and it's wonderful. And it's ongoing, so I can tell that these classes are popular, so folks are looking into that.
Yeah. And then that fits right into the fifth component of wellness, which is self-care. And that's when we acknowledge things that we need to do to take care of ourselves, making sure that we take the time and do some of our favorite things like puzzles, like the singing, participating in the dance classes. So you got to talk a little bit more about that as well.
Okay.
And then other things that just allow for us to just slow down and take care of ourselves and to pay attention to those things when we start to see some of those changes, understanding that some of those things may be related to as we age. Some of it could also be related to something else. It could be telling us that something else is going on. And so we want to pay attention to any changes in our mental health status, our mentation, our memory, even our physical ability. When we start to have these little joint things go on, paying attention to those things and getting connected to the right resources. And so self-care is very, very important. And again, because I'm familiar with some of the programming that's offered at the Senior Center, I do know that that is a huge component that is offered to people in the community that may qualify for being a part of the Senior Center.
We want to make sure a part of our mission is the overall wellness of area seniors. You know, it's just so important. The more you can move, the longer you'll keep moving.
Yes.
And another side note, we're lucky, or very, very lucky, I should say, to have Riviera University, a partnership with them. And during their school year, we have the nurses from the university come in and with their instructors. Actually, it's the nurse practitioner students. They come in with their instructors and do mini physicals. They do the A1C, they do blood pressure checks, and they actually sit down with each person through the process.
Yeah.
And it's that extra time, not the 20-minute window that you get at the doctor's office. That's been really helpful. And like you said, the moving, we have line dance classes, which folks just love the line dancing. We have a fantastic instructor. Recently, she started another class, and she calls it a drumming class.
Oh.
And they're like these plastic buckets that have little ropes on them. And then I'll say it's a yoga ball. And they have sticks, like drumsticks.
Yes.
And very popular. And it's all kinds of moves to that, around it. They're getting good cardio. A couple of the ladies that maybe are having knee issues right now, so they can't do the dancing because of the turns, they can do that.
That's awesome.
So they want to make sure they're not missing out, so they
Right.
get that knee fixed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And so again, when we talk about wellness, and this is the month of August, and so even though August is Wellness Month, we want to think about wellness all year round.
Yes.
Right? And we want to think about it across the continuum. One of the things that I also have read about, have you read Blue Zones?
I have not.
Margo.
I have to read it?
You have to read Blue
Okay.
Zones. You just talked about the 20 plus folks that are members of the Senior Center that are in their 90s. Where Blue Zone focuses on those who live into their century, so over 100. And how do we help individuals live into centurium? How do we help them?
Wow.
Yes, right? And so all the things that you're offering at the Senior Center are those things that help maintain longevity of life. Yeah.
Love this.
Yeah, and so as we think
The Blue
about
Zone.
August, it's Blue Zone. You got to read it.
Okay.
As we think about August as Wellness Month, and we think about year round, right? So that's how we want to push this out, so that it's not just August that we think about, oh, we're going to stay in shape physically and mentally and emotionally and socially, and we're going to maintain our self-care for the month of August. We want this to be done all year round, right? So that we continually see people living longer, healthier, productive lives. And in Blue Zones, it talks about individuals that live into their 100th year or longer. They interview these folks and they talk about what are the things that you all do to help you live past 100 years, and it's all the things that you talked about. All the things that are offered at the Senior Center.
Wow.
Yes.
So we're doing something right.
Yes.
Okay. This is
Yes.
good to know. Good to know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me a little bit more about Margo. And so there are some of us that get into particular parts of work, in our journey of life. What made you decide to want to work at the Senior Center and to be the executive director? Because I've known you for a little bit of time. Yes.
Strangely enough, the story is short. But I had to do an internship went to school for therapeutic recreation, and I had to do an internship of 400 hours. And you'd never believe how difficult it was to get into a place because I wasn't expecting to be paid, but nonprofits are short-staffed. They don't call you back. I'm on a deadline. I happened to call the senior center, and I'm going back to 1983. And they picked up the phone and said, "Yes, we'd love to have you."
Awesome.
So I spent a summer there, went back to school, filed my paperwork, and then 10 weeks later, they hired me. So I've been there in a variety of capacities, different jobs, which keeps it interesting.
Yes.
All this time.
Yeah.
I know, short story, right?
Short story,
Yeah.
but one that's impactful. And there must have been, this compassion for this work with the older population.
Yeah, I believe my parents were older. The family, they were the younger end. So you get to know that people aren't really old.
Yeah.
They haven't changed. The packaging changes.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
They're the same person.
Yes.
And it's good. And I also see that volunteering is huge. And I didn't mention that before, but we have about 150 volunteers.
Yeah.
And I think folks that volunteer give back. They get the good feeling from what they're doing. And I know most days when I go to work, at the end of the day, I feel like I've done something good.
Yes, yes. And that's a big part of, in the Blue Zones, when you read it, and I do hope that you read it.
I will.
It talks about that as well. Volunteering is a huge part of that mental, emotional, that social connectedness, even a part of the self-care, because you do feel like you're giving something back. And then when you put yourself in that space, it allows for you to, again, increase your physical well-being as well. And so it's all interconnected. And it's all holistically how we think about, how do we take care for not just ourselves, but for others when we do volunteer work. And so all of those things play a very important role, in particular with, our aging and our aging adult population, in extending the well-being of the body, the mind, the spirit.
You need it all.
You do. You need it all.
The older we get, and the more of this I see, and I'm realizing myself, and I know you're younger than I am, but you think, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna stop working, and then it's like your world is smaller. The kids might be grown, they've gone somewhere else. Some of your friends have moved to be closer to their families. And if you can go volunteer somewhere and have a schedule that I'm here on Mondays and I'm here Tuesdays, you now have a reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you purpose.
It does.
I appreciate you being here so much with us, Margo, to talk about the things that are offered at our senior center. What's the address?
70 Temple Street. We're right off the main street in Nashua, New Hampshire.
And it's open to?
You don't have to be 50 to be a member.
Yeah.
So, we have old 50-year-olds and we have young 90-year-olds.
Yeah. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And so, again, like you said, it's the person remains the same. It's the packaging that changes, right? And so as we think about health and wellness, and we think about maintaining our physical, mental, and emotional health to the extent as best as we can with the resources that are available to us in our community, it allows for us to have longevity of life in the best way possible.
I agree. And we appreciate our partnership with Nashua Public Health. We know you're only a phone call away when we need you.
Yes, and we will be.
Yes.
We're always going to be there.
I know.
We're always going to be there to
for
support.
years you have been.
Exactly, to support the things that are happening for our seniors in our community.
Which is great.
Which is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate the senior center, all of the activities that are offered. Do go on the website for the senior center. Do give Margo a call and take a look at the website and all of the offerings, the opportunities for engagement, and the opportunity for volunteerism. We actually, one of the things at Public Health that we do, you mentioned the Meals on Wheels. We are actually partnering with Meals on Wheels, and we do some of the follow-up visits. And so if Meals on Wheels goes in, and say someone just went out, for the day, and they're not there to receive their meal, we also will follow up and go in and do a wellness check to make sure that everything's okay. Yes, and we'll give them a call and make sure that they can get their meals. And so there's lots of opportunities for partnerships, lots of opportunities to continue to support the things that you're doing over there at the Senior Center.
And I love what you do. That's a nice thing to know, that you're following up on that.
Yeah. And we will make sure that when it's time for vaccinations, so August is also immunization month, and we want to make sure that we encourage our older adults to get all the vaccinations that they need to protect their health. So our influenza, believe it or not, that we're in that season where that's going to be coming back around. So we want to make sure that people get their influenza vaccine. For flu, we want to make sure that people get their pneumovax vaccine to prevent pneumonia. Also, another vaccination that's for adults is the Shingrix to prevent shingles.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, very important.
Very important.
Yes.
Exactly. And then also our COVID vaccination, we want to make sure that people get those as well. It is not a seasonal respiratory illness, infectious illness. It seems to be going all year round, so we want to encourage that as well. And so when you're ready for us to come over and make that connection and set up a clinic over there, just give us a call and we'll be right there.
I'll be in touch very soon.
Margo, is there anything else that you want our viewers of Public Health Matters to know about the Senior Center?
Gosh, we covered so many topics
We
here.
did, and there's so many things that are offered
and
over
we
there.
didn't even get to fraud. But,
yes, let's talk about that. We've got a little bit of time.
Yes, we had a little time. So fraud, it's happening more and more all the time. As a matter of fact, I had somebody post my address that I was selling a trailer, and I had about 15 different people come to my house wanting to buy the trailer. And it was a Facebook scam, and I knew better, but I was lucky. Yeah. Nonetheless, we do have somebody from Nashua Police Department that comes on the second Tuesday of the month and talks just about whether it's fraud or scams or my neighbor's dog barks too loud, what can I do? And it's just, it's a nice setting because there's no intimidation.
Yeah.
And it's been very helpful.
Yeah, no, that's so important because we do know that unfortunately our older adult population is targeted for scams, and so as much information that we can get out there and share, it's going to be really important. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yes, and thank you for being here with us today.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I'm Bobbie Bagley, and I'm reminding you to have a great day today and a better day tomorrow, and we'll see you the next time on Public Health Matters.